sit back and relax. It's story time. And I want you to think about the last road trip you took with your friends. You were probably tired, sipping on gas station coffee, and thought the scariest thing you would deal with was traffic. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about the time an innocent road trip with friends turned into something far more sinister. My two friends and I drove down to Pensacola, Florida for a comic book convention. We were excited, jamming to each other's playlists, all that. The convention, though, was in a rough part of town. As we pulled into the area, the mood changed. Storefronts with bars on the windows, peeling paint, faded signs you could barely read. The only motel in our budget was this rundown place a short walk from the convention center. We knew it was bad before we even parked. The sign flickered like it could die at any second. The parking lot was cracked and stained, and there were a few homeless people that had made little nests near the dumpster at the back. There were also people just standing around in the parking lot, not going anywhere, just watching cars pull in. Well, you know that feeling when your body decides for you? My shoulders got tight and my stomach dropped. That's the feeling. This place did not feel safe. But it was late, we were tired, and we had already paid, so we checked in and drove around to our room. We pulled into the spot in front of our door, headlights sweeping over stained concrete, dented doors, cracked windows. The sun was low, that in-between time where things are not fully lit but also not fully dark. We got out, popped the trunk, started pulling out our bags. That nervous, quick kind of moving you do when you want to get inside fast. I can't remember who saw them first. A man and a young girl walking toward us along the narrow sidewalk in front of the rooms. At first, I barely glanced at them. The guy looked like any regular middle-aged dad. The girl was small, maybe 9 years old with dark wavy hair, face pointed toward her shoes in a shy way. But then the details hit me. They were dressed wrong. Not just messy or dirty, nope. Wrong in time. The man's clothes looked like something out of the 1960s. Simple, neat, just off enough to feel out of place. The girl was wearing this crisp linen dress, old-fashioned, almost like a church dress or a school picture from way back. But it looked brand new. No fading, no stains, no wrinkles. The fabric looked almost too stiff, too perfect. And she was holding a cardboard box. It was open at the top. As they came closer, I could see inside. There were candy bars. The man reached us, and I noticed his smile. It looked like someone had drawn it on and forgot to tell him to move the rest of his face. He said, in this friendly tone that did not match his expression at all, "Would you like to buy a candy bar? She's selling them for school." The girl didn't move. She kept her head down, gripping the box. She didn't even shift her weight. She did not look like a kid trying to sell candy. Every hair on the back of my neck stood up. There was nothing I could point at and say, "That's wrong." It was more like my body went cold all at once. I heard that little voice inside my head say, "Go inside, lock the door, right now." Then my brain tried to reason with it. It's just a man and a little girl. You're in a sketchy part of town, of course you feel weird. One of my friends stepped up to the box. He looked inside and said, kind of confused, "Is that all you have? Just the 3? The man nodded, that same stiff smile. My friend shrugged. "Gotta support the kids," she said, and bought all 3 candy bars. The man didn't say anything else. He just stood there smiling. The girl didn't look up. She hadn't spoken, hadn't moved. We gathered our bags. Our room was only a few steps away. To get there, we had to walk right past the girl, close enough to brush shoulders. I felt this heavy pressure in my chest, like my heart knew something bad was coming. Still, I forced myself to walk at a normal pace. I did not want to look scared. As we passed her, she finally moved. Slowly, she lifted her head. Her face was pale and too smooth, like she did not use it very often. Then I saw her eyes. They were completely black. No whites, no color, just solid black, like two holes punched through her face into empty space. She locked her eyes with mine, and in a voice far too deep for a little girl, she said, "Thank you." The sound of it vibrated in my chest. It did not match her size or her body at all. It felt like something older was talking through her. My skin went cold. None of us said a word. We hurried the last few steps to our door, nearly stumbling over our bags and fumbling with the key card. We finally got inside, slammed the door, and locked it. I threw the deadbolt without thinking. For a few minutes, we just stood there, breathing hard, staring at the door. Then very quietly, one of my friends said, "Please tell me you saw her eyes." We all had. We tried to make sense of it. Contacts, some weird prank, bad lighting, anything. But every time I replayed the moment in my mind, it felt the same. Wrong, heavy, like something was leaning in on us from the dark. That's when we looked at the candy bars. They were lined up on the bedspread, 3 different kinds. And we realized something that made my stomach turn. Each one was the favorite of one of us. Not just the flavors we liked, the exact ones we always grabbed at gas stations without thinking. None of us wanted to touch them. We left them there while we tried to sleep that night. And it was one of those nights where every sound is 10 times louder than it should be. Footsteps on the walkway outside, a car door slamming in the lot, muted voices through thin walls. Every time I heard something, I pictured that girl standing outside our door, black eyes staring at the peephole, that too deep voice. In the morning, the motel looked a little less sinister in the daylight, the kind of place you could convince yourself was not that bad. But those candy bars were still sitting there. We all agreed without much discussion we were not going to eat them. We carried them out to the dumpster near the edge of the lot where the homeless camp was. The air smelled like old trash and something sour. We tossed the candy bars in. They landed with this soft sound that felt too gentle, like dropping something alive into a pile of dead things. We never saw the man again. We never saw the girl again. Not at the motel, not at the convention, not anywhere in that city. But if you ever check into a cheap motel and something feels off, lock the door, stay in the light, because out there in the dark, you're not always alone.